Ever since I started doing these magic frequency videos, I've been asked to do one for acoustic guitar. And I've been a little hesitant to do this because the way I EQ acoustics can vary a lot depending on the guitar itself, the room it was recorded in, the way that the engineer mic'd it up, which unfortunately is often not great. But still, as with anything, there are certain frequencies that crop up over and over and are 90% the same in most cases. The big difference here is context. Are we talking about an acoustic guitar that's just by itself, maybe just with a singer or a really stripped down arrangement? Or are we talking about an acoustic in the context of a rock or a pop mix? Those are very different cases. But I managed to find a song here that has both of those examples. So I'm going to take you through the magic frequencies that I look for when working on acoustic guitars. So let me give you an idea of the track. So we start off with a really soft acoustic intro there. We go into the verse.
Leave your boxes at the door.
Single acoustic with the singer.
Didn't you leave this unsaid? Didn't you say it wasn't worth it?
And then eventually it kicks into a pretty big chorus.
Didn't you leave this unsaid?
So let me start by talking about the top end. And there are two magic frequencies on the top end that I often go to for acoustic guitar. It's either going to be about 5K or 10K, maybe anywhere above 10K for brightness. So use the first example, 5K. So in this acoustic guitar intro where it's just the single track, you can see I'm boosting at 5K here. And I'm not doing a lot. I'm just trying to add a little bit of presence and definition, just make it feel like it's a little bit closer to you. Now, on the courses where we have the really big acoustics, they're double that wide. Now, in this case, I've got it at 10K. And so this is the difference. Like when you're boosting, 10K and up, you're getting a nice airy brightness, but it's not like defined. It's not like a presence that's kind of in your face. It sits back a little more, right? And compare that to the sound of the other track. And the goal with acoustic guitars in a dense rock course like this is not really to have them be the focus and really hear the full tone of the instrument. You just want to hear the strumming, that percussive rhythmic element with a nice bright feeling that kind of lifts the mix. Listen to the difference between the 10K boost and the 5K boost. At 5K, it starts to feel a little bit closer, more in your face. At 10K, it backs off a little bit, but still has that nice, bright, kind of airy lift to it. So that's generally what I'm thinking in terms of the top end on the acoustic guitar. If I need it to take up more space and be more present in the mix, it'll be more closer down to the mid-range, more like 4 or 5K. But if I want it to sit back but still sound bright, it's further up, 10K or above. Now, let's talk about the mid-range because this changes a lot too. So back to the first verse here.
Leave your boxes at the door.
I'm doing a pretty big boost here right at 1K. All right, almost 5 dB. And what this is doing is bringing the acoustic forward in the mix. I've talked about this in other videos. This 1K area, this is like the in-your-face frequency area. So if you've got a really stripped down track like this where it's just an acoustic by itself with a singer and there's a lot of space, I'll typically have to boost a lot more of this mid-range. Around 1K, I need the acoustic guitar to take up a lot more of this prime real estate because there's not really anything else there.
Door.
You can hear when I don't have that boost in, it sounds just too far back. It just sounds too weak, right?
Didn't you leave this unsaid? Didn't you say it wasn't worth it?
But then once we get to the chorus, we don't want that, right? We don't have any 1K boost there at all. I'm not trying to have it stick in front of the mix. By the way, I created a mixing cheat sheet that outlines all of my go-to frequencies for drums, bass, guitars, vocals, every track in your mix, so that you're not guessing when you're mixing. This will give you a really solid starting point of where to look for different instruments. So you can grab that cheat sheet for free. There's a link below, or you can just go to mixcheatsheet.com. Okay, so we talked about the top end, we talked about the mid-range. Next up is the low end, and this is the part that really can vary a lot depending on the recording. Now, most of the bad stuff is gonna be somewhere below 400. So let's go back to these big coarse guitars again. So let's start at 400. You can hear that kind of nasty, nasally sound. Pretty common to get on an acoustic guitar recording. And then on the low end, very common to have a lot of low end buildup between 200 and 300. So we're just gonna call it anything below 400 is the magic frequency area to look at. And you probably are gonna need to cut this unless it's more stripped back and it was well recorded and you need all that low end. Otherwise, you probably need to make some cuts there. So in this case, we really don't need low end in this course, right? We've got bass, we've got guitars, we got everything, right?
Say it wasn't worth it. Oh, sleepless nights, try to say love again, but maybe.
So you got to watch that area. Sometimes some multiband compression there can be good as well if it's really kind of inconsistent in the way it kind of booms out and then sounds thin. I'll show you one more track though. Here's another acoustic recording that is, let's say, not as well recorded, but still totally usable with the right EQ. So here it is without anything. So I'll show you how I would EQ this guitar both ways, right? So let's say this is just a solo acoustic guitar, just with the singer on top. We've still got a lot of low end buildup, right? We'll dip that out with the shelf around 300. Now I also hear that 400 area coming through again. Hear that? Now it's already got quite a bit of mid-range. Might need a little bit of top end. Give it a little bit of 5K. Now, in this case, I would probably cut a little of this 1K mid-range. Now, that's just because there's so much of it there already. I know I just said that for a solo acoustic guitar, you probably want a lot of that 1K, which I do. It's just that there's already so much here, right? So in this case, I probably would need to cut. And that's a pretty decent sound for a solo acoustic guitar. Now, if this needed to be in the context of a rock mix with lots of other instruments and I want it to be more set back in the mix, again, we're gonna change that up. We're gonna still scoop out the 1K area, probably a little more, boost further up at 10K. Take out a little bit more low ends. There you go. So you can see two totally different songs, two totally different acoustic recordings by working in these same frequency areas. On the top end, either around 5K or 10K, in the mid-range, deciding what you want to do with that 1K area, and then down around 400 and below for that kind of nasty resonance and the low end buildup that happens. really just focusing on those areas is going to get you 90% there 90% of the time. Hope that helps you next time you're mixing acoustic guitars. And I've got a lot more videos in this Magic Frequencies series, so just look at my channel for those. Or if you want to watch another one right now, you can check out my Magic Frequencies for electric guitars right here. Take care.